All right, I feel like I can tackle anything right now. Do you know when you do something that's really enjoyable and it releases natural endorphins? Driving has been like that for me my entire life. Not driving long distance, I hate driving on freeways, but city driving. And I've been saying this since I was a teenager because I used to pick my nan up and drive my nan around the city. And I did. I used to drive my nan in to see Uncle Fred when he was even in the nursing home in John Street in Leichhardt. And I've always had great cars. Always had sports cars, except for that one car that Mum made me buy because she wanted, or because she wanted it. But apart from that, I've had a muscle car and sports cars my entire life. So I had great cars to enjoy myself and drive. And when I'm not driving, I'm like, ugh, so grumpy because I used to go for a drive every single day. So I used to get my dog, even before my dog, but when I had my dog, I used to get my dog. Because when I lived on back at number 2, New South Head Road, Rushcutters Bay, so that entrance to the apartment building is a tollway zone. And I would always park there because it's tollway after 3, which means I was always in my car before 3 and driving. I used to drive up the bends, go up to Watson's Bay, come back through the city, go back past World Square in the city and so forth, and then up Pitt Street. And that was my natural endorphin release. I don't get the same feeling if I have to drive from the city to, say, Dad's at Empire Bay. I'm like, oh God, I hate highway driving. But when I'm city driving, it's my natural release of endorphins. And literally, I had to go pick something up from Bulgaria anyway. This beautiful lady and her beautiful husband. It's like, oh my God, it's so great to meet nice people again, like-minded people. And this is fabulous. So I'm like driving the way down. I'm like, oh, I knew I missed the exit because I'm thinking, oh God, Sydney Road, I just gone past it. Because I was driving, I'm like, oh, there's Sydney Road. Oh, back right, we're going to Manly. Because I used to live in Euroban Avenue in Manly, down Queen's Cliffs End, for like a long period of time in my life. But we're talking like 20 odd years ago. And so I'm driving around and then driving back through the city. And it's like, oh my God, I just feel so invigorated. It was like a natural endorphin release for me to drive. I'm like, I have to get my car back. I have to get my car back. I used to drive every single day. Every day. I used to just love going for drives around the city in my car and then coming home. It's like, okay, I'm energized. And literally, I would drive in peak hour traffic, come home, like, I'm so energized. And other people are like, oh, how are you sitting in traffic? I'm like, I love that. I love it. It's energizing to me. It's just, yeah, like if you had to pick something and say, like, my mum rides horses. I'm like, ugh, okay, I don't find that to be enjoyable. But driving my car, it's like, yeah, I had some great cars to drive, and I could really drive them. Like I see this, I was just driving a Go Get, which was like was automatic. I'm like, oh God, and I'm trying to change it like a menu, and I'm like, okay, I can't do that. But like meaning like I was putting my hand there going, like not changing the automatic stick, but just going. It was great. It's a natural release of endorphins for me, and it just makes me happy. It's enjoyable. It's who I am, and it's something I've done since it's something I've done since a teenager, since getting my piece, basically. But it was fantastic. Just I'd come back. My dog's exhausted. We went to the beach. He can't walk too much anyway with his legs, so we used to drive my car and have the sunroof open, and he loved it. It was his little like he could see out the window and drive around as well. Yeah, it was fantastic. I just had this massive amount of great release of endorphins. It's just fantastic. So so it is. It's something that I used to always do. And it's part of, like when I've gone through what I've gone through, like being mugged on my way home from work, November 30th, 2007. And when I was seeing a psychologist about dealing with the trauma that it was very bad. She said, what do you do? And I'm like, okay, I've got these places I go to in Sydney that I enjoy. One of them is Nan's house in Piper Street, so 43 Piper Street, Leichhardt, which is my Nan's house. The other one's like Moore Park. And the other one's Watson's Bay because I love the sound of the waves crashing, and I love driving. So I'm just going for drives. She goes, good. So you've got things. She goes, what about the traffic? I'm like, oh God, give me traffic. Give me peak hour traffic in the city, but don't give it to me on freeways. I hate freeway driving. It's just not who I am because it's not enjoyable. It's like, oh, I'm going to see freeway driving's like I'm going from a point to point. It's like destination. City driving is enjoyable. It's like, oh, let's zip it. Oh, there's traffic. Let's zip through here. Let's zip through there. This is enjoyable. This is fun. So it's fun. So I love it. I'm gonna post that and say natural release of endorphins for me, and I just feel fantastic. I needed it. It was like, seriously, I arrived at these people's places and I was just so happy. And what was making me happy was the fact that I was going for a drive with my dog. Something so simple released the most amount of natural endorphins. It was amazing.